Okay, we're live, and I just realized as we were going live that I forgot to put the microphone on. Hopefully, that doesn't mess anything up and it is heard well. I'm gonna have to check it out later, but we'll see what works. Anyway, so I have been wanting to do videos on books I've been reading because I've been reading a lot of books, especially over the summer, and there are so many good book recommendations out there that I've been reading that I wanted to just give little summaries of them and my thoughts on them as well. So the first one, and I have recommended this before, I think in other videos, definitely in my conversations with atheists, but it's the title of this video. It is called, Is God a Moral Monster? So let me give a sort of brief summary of the book. The book, it was written about 10 years ago. Paul Copan is a philosopher, if I recall correctly. He's the author. And what he does is he sort of walks us through the sort of, quote, clobber passages that a lot of atheists and others will bring up and explain the historical background and what scholars say about it and proper interpretations and all this sort of stuff, and give sort of defenses of how these passages can be true, taken seriously and literally, yet we could also understand it as consistent with a lot of modern day ethics. So that's sort of the idea. I love that it does that, and it is consistent with my own training as a seminarian. Going through 3 years of seminary. There's nothing major I could think of that I would say, wait, nah, that's not true, or anything like that. Nothing I can think of. The only problem, I guess you could say, with the book, and again, I do like it a lot, is the two problems, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how to say the second one. So the first one is that it is very clearly written in 2010 or so, because it is addressed sort of explicitly, continually, to the new atheist types. And in fact, it has a chapter or two on the new atheists and sort of explaining them and all that sort of thing. And the new atheists are not really much of a thing anymore. Obviously not saying that there are not atheists around or anything like that, or even that atheism has died. No. The group known as the New Atheists. So Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, Christopher Hitchens, who has died, and Daniel Dennett. Those four. Those are considered like sort of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, the new atheist types. It spends too much time on them and sort of defending against them. And honestly, you don't really see that a lot anymore. You see, you do see it in people like Matt Dillahunty and maybe like a Tom Jump sort of person, but those are not household names. Like, people know who Richard Dawkins is, and to a lesser extent the others. And out of those four, only Sam Harris is doing anything anymore, not really related much with atheism, as far as like publicly and so. So I think that it sort of dates the book that way. And so the question is like, why are we talking about them when they're not really important anymore? So, oh, yeah, that's probably true, John. Oh, Jesus Zamora. Oh, nice. I didn't know that. Okay, well, that's cool. He's your father-in-law. That's awesome. Well, I will make sure that I'm nice. I have nothing bad to say about the book. I'm only this one concern. And then the other part is, so it's live stream for people who are watching. That's why I'm reacting to comments. So then the second question has to do, or the second, I guess, sort of concern, has to do with sort of how it goes about. So it does it in topics. So questions of like, well, what about war? What about, the dehumanization of women and that sort of stuff. But I think what would really help out with it is if it had sort of a section, maybe at the end as part of an appendix, where it's like, well, these are those passages that we're going to have to go back and look to, because the way it works is that he'll go to various passages as sort of like, well, this is the framing passage that we need to look at the other passages in light of. So when you see something about a alleged slave or something like that, or what seems to be mistreating of women, well, we have to look at it in light of the prior passages that talk about these overarching sort of laws. And I think if he had that and sort of kept them in mind for at least for like an appendix, that would be really helpful. So that's just more of an organizational thing. So yeah, I really enjoyed the book. It's really good, very helpful. And it's not a book that will convince an atheist, I think. And I mean no disrespect in saying this. I don't think that an atheist would be necessarily open to that, especially a former Christian who's an atheist. I do think that it's better suited for someone who is wanting to learn more and is going to go in depth, as a Christian especially. So another really good thing about it is at the end of each chapter, just about each chapter, or at least each chapter on a topic, it will give you further reading recommendations at that end. And you can read all these, obviously a lot of it's going to be cited in the endnotes or footnotes, endnotes. I think they have endnotes here, which that's another problem. You should always have footnotes, not endnotes. Footnotes are much better than endnotes. Anyway, but yeah, you do have the problem, or not the problem. You do have where he's recommending more books for you to look into to get more in depth. This one is meant to be just sort of like a layman's level book that helps you get your feet wet. And then if you want more, then look at the books that he recommends further. That is what it's meant for. So an atheist is not going to be necessarily convinced by this book, but if he wants to, he can look at the further readings that are recommended for any particular topic. So I don't mean necessarily that the atheist is going to be closed-minded as much as like, well, these are not going to be convincing because I'm going to need more research and all that sort of stuff. Well, that research is done in the other books. So that is all I have to say for that. The next one I want to look into is actually, I'm reading through it right now, I'm about halfway through. It's called Canterbury Cousins. It is by Owen E. Cummings. And I'm not going to do it in this video, but that is one about Eucharistic theology within Anglicanism, especially within the 20th century, and from the point of view of Roman Catholics. And there are some historical problems with it on certain issues, but a lot of it is really, really good. So once I'm finished with that one, I will be doing a review on it. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope it was helpful. And have a good day. God bless.